Today we are going to be multiplying fractions. The first and most simple way is to multiply a fraction by a fraction. There are 3 simple steps to multiplying fractions by fractions. Step 1 is to multiply the numerators, which is the top numbers. Step 2 is to multiply the denominators, or the bottom numbers. And step 3 is simplify if needed. Here we have a worked out example, 2/5 times 3/4. Multiply the numerators, 2 times 3 is 6. Multiply the denominators, 5 times 4 is 20. Simplify, both of these numbers can be divided by 2. So our final answer is 3/10. Let's try another one. We have 5/12 times 12/7. This dot in between means to multiply. We have 5 times 12, which is 60, and 12 times 7, which is 84. We need to simplify this fraction. Using our little GCF trick for simplifying fractions, we notice that our GCF is going to be 12, which means I can divide both 60 and 84 by 12. 60 divided by 12 is 5, 84 divided by 12 is 7. The second type of fraction division is fractions dividing whole numbers. So the steps for dividing fractions in whole numbers are very similar, except there's a few extra steps. Step 1 is to rewrite the whole number as a fraction over 1. So any whole number can be written as a fraction as long as 1 is the denominator. Step 2 and 3 are very similar to the top, where we multiply across the numerators and multiply across the denominators. The only other thing that's different is once we do that multiplication, we may need to convert our improper fraction back to a mixed number if needed. Then we will simplify just as before. Here we have a worked out example. We have 1/4 times 5. You keep 1/4, but we needed to write the whole number as a fraction over 1. So I'm going to circle that so that we can see that this has to be written as a fraction before you can continue. Then you do 1/4 times 5 over 1. So we get 5/4. This then needs to become back to a mixed number. In this case, we did not have to simplify, but we did have to put it back as a mixed number. Let's look at 5/6 times 9. I have rewritten it as 5/6 times 9 over 1. I'm using the dot for multiplication because why not? Our next step is to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. 5 times 9 is 45, and 6 times 1 is 6. Since our numerator is bigger than our denominator, we need to try to make a mixed number. So we need to try to do number 4. So we need to try to figure out 6 times what number is close to 45 but does not pass it. The closest we can get is 7 because 6 times 7 is 42. When we subtract, we end up with 3. Now it's time to make a mixed number. I've labeled the numbers. We need the number 7, which will become our whole number for our mixed number. And we also need our remainder, which will become the numerator or the top of our fraction. So now all we need to do is figure out the denominator. Well, anytime we're converting between numbers, the denominator will always stay the same. Our last step is to simplify. Both of these numbers can be divided by 3. So our final answer is 7.5. So 5/6 times 9 equals 7.5. Our last and most challenging way to divide fractions is when mixed numbers is involved. We will need to first change all the mixed numbers to improper fractions. Then we will multiply across the numerator, multiply across the denominator. We will then have to convert the mixed number or convert it back to a mixed number and then simplify at the end. Here is a worked out example. 1/2 becomes 3/2 as a improper fraction. 2 1/5 becomes 11/5. When you multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, you end up with 33 over 10. And then you have to convert it back into a mixed number. This one did not need any simplifying. We will be working out 4 1/5 times 1 7/9. All right, to turn 4 1/5 into a improper fraction, we're going to do 5 times 4 plus 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. Denominator stays the same. We're going to do the same thing with 1 7/9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. So 16 is our numerator, and 9 is our denominator. Now we're ready to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. 21 times 16 is 336. 5 times 9 is 45. Our numerator is bigger than our denominator. We need to make a mixed number. All right, we're set up and ready to go. We need to figure out a number 45 can be multiplied by to get 336 or get close. 45 times 7 is 315, so we will use that. Now it's time to subtract. We get a remainder of 21. Now it's time to set up our mixed number. All right, 7, our answer, will be our whole number. 21 will be our numerator or top of our fraction, and our denominator will stay the same. Now we need to decide if it can be simplified. 21 and 45 can both be divided by 3. So our simplified mixed number is 7 and 7/15. 7 and 7/15 is our final answer.